When and why Socket.Send returns 0 in Python. The Python 3 socket programming how to presents this code snippet. Where the send loop is interrupted if the Socket.Send method returns 0. The logic behind this snippet is that when the send method returns 0 bytes sent, the sending side of a socket connection should give up its efforts to send data. This is for sure true for the RICF method, where 0 bytes read for a socket in blocking mode should be interpreted as EUF, and therefore the reading side should give up. However, I cannot understand under which situations the send method could return 0. My understanding of Python sockets is that send returns immediately due to buffering at the OS level. If the buffer is full, send will block, or if the connections is closed at the remote side, an exception is raised. Finally, suppose send returns 0 without raising an exception. Does this really indicate that all future send calls will return 0? I've done some testing, although using only socket connected to column 1 on OS X, and was not able to find a situation in which send returns 0. Edit. The how-to states. But if you plan to reuse your socket for further transfers, you need to realize that there is no yet on a socket. I repeat, if a Socket.Send or RICF returns after handling 0 bytes, the connection has been broken. If the connection has not been broken, you may wait on a RICF forever, because the socket will not tell you that there's nothing more to read, for now. It is pretty easy to find a situation in which RICF returns 0, when the remote, sending, side calls socket.shutdown_WR, further RICF on the receiving side will return 0 and not raise any exception. I'm looking for a concrete example where you can show that receiving 00 from send indicates a broken connection, which will continue to return 0 on send.
Upon seeing the question, I was somehow stunned, because a send C call can return 0 bytes and the connection is of course still alive. The socket cannot simply send more bytes at that given moment in time. This URL. I decided to use the source, and unless I am very wrong, which can always be and often is, this is a bug in the how-to chain. Send is an alias for sock_send. Sock_send calls in turn sock_call. Sock_call calls in turn sock_call_x. Sock_call calls in turn sock_send_impl, which has been passed down the chain starting with sock_send. Unwinding. Sock_send_impl returns true or false, 1 or 0, with return, CTX, result is greater than or equal to 0. Sock_call_x returns -1 if sock_send_impl returns false, 0 if sock_send_impl returns true. Sock_call returns this value transparently. Sock_send returns null for a -1, because an error has been set, and an exception will be raised. Returns CTX, result for 0 from sock_call. And CTX, result is the number of bytes written by the C call send in sock_send_impl. The chain shows that if 0 bytes have been sent, there is no error, and this actually is a potential real-life socket situation. If my logic is wrong, someone please let me know.
I might be wrong, but I think you are looking for an impossible situation. As Momentum has shown in his answer, it is theoretically possible for a socket to return 0 when there is no error, but also no data sent. However, as shown elsewhere on, so this can only happen in very specific scenarios. In my experience, and also covered in the comments to the accepted answer, you would only ever get a 0 result on a non-blocking socket when the network is congested. Now Python sockets are blocking by default, which means that the kernel should wait until there is room to take some more data, then return how many bytes were queued. By definition, this can never be 0. So, putting it all together, since your snippet doesn't reset the socket type, for example using the set_blocking function, it is using blocking sockets and so cannot return 0 and thus cannot hit the path momentum identified. This is backed up by the fact that you have been unable to trigger the specific line of code no matter what you do.
If you want to slow it down, listen to this part.